This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Lal Malavarachi and read by Tilani Piris. The program to develop 1,000 provincial council schools as national schools is swiftly going on. Total COVID-19 recoveries in Sri Lanka crossed 46,000, while new cases total count passes 54,000. The Sri Lanka Navy is in search and rescue operation to locate the missing Indian fishermen. 4 more appeals courts are to be established. And on news overseas, Trump decree on COVID visiting rules rebuffed as he enters the final day. State Minister Susil Premajayantha says that the program to develop 1,000 provincial council schools as national schools is swiftly going on at present. The program is planned to be implemented in 3 phases, and the Education Minister presented a proposal to develop one selected provincial school as a national school in each of the 123 divisional secretariat divisions in which there are no national schools under the first phase of the project. This includes 5 such schools in the Colombo district. Another 673 schools selected on the basis of identified criteria as national schools are scheduled to be upgraded under the second phase. It is also expected to uplift the standard of existing 373 national schools under the third phase of the project. The State Minister revealed this information in response to a query made at the Parliament today. The Health Ministry says Sri Lanka reported 337 new infections of the coronavirus today, passing the total count of 54,000. Accordingly, the total count of COVID-19 cases reported in the country reached 54,087. According to the Health Ministry's data, 46,594 of the confirmed patients have made complete recoveries. 774 patients who are under medical care have recovered and were discharged from hospitals within the last 24 hours. However, 7,223 active cases are still under medical care at selected hospitals and treatment centres. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka has witnessed 270 deaths from the virus so far. Meanwhile, the wife and daughter of State Minister Piyal Nishantha, who was tested positive for COVID-19, have been moved to a quarantine centre in Koggala for medical care. COVID-19 tests conducted on the State Minister's 2 sons, driver, security guards and secretaries today have however shown negative results. Health authorities have meanwhile instructed 22 individuals, including several parliamentarians who identified as close contacts of the State Minister, to go into self-isolation. Driver of the State Minister, Tharaka Balasurya, has also been tested positive for the virus. The Sri Lanka Navy launched a search and rescue SAR operation last night in search of a sunken Indian fishing boat and its fishermen in Sri Lankan waters about 8 nautical miles northwest of Delf Island. SLN units on patrol carried out an operation to seize Indian fishing trawlers poaching in Sri Lankan waters, trespassing the International Maritime Boundary Line IMBL after observing more than 50 trawlers. As the operation was panning out, one of the Indian fishing trawlers with aggressive maneuvers resisting the arrest was on an attempt to evade from the scene, making it collided with SLN craft in operation and ultimately sank at sea, having lost its stability. The collision also led causing of damages to the SLN fast attack craft, which was subsequently brought to Kankasanture harbour safely for repair work. Following the incident, Sri Lanka Navy commenced a search and rescue operation in search of the fishermen on the sunken trawler, and the operation is being increased by a diving team as well as SLN ships and craft in the sea area where the incident occurred. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
The Speaker of Parliament, Mahinda Yapabewardene, announced in Parliament today that MPs Manusha Nanayakkara and Kumara Velgama have been newly appointed to the Committee on Public Finance. The Speaker announced the above names nominated by the Committee of Selection, given the vacant positions created by the resignation of MPs Hesha Vithanage and Chaminda Vijayasuri, respectively. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved a proposal to make necessary provisions through the Act of Parliament for making sign language a recognised means of communication and to advise the legal draftsman to draft the relevant bill. The proposal has been tabled by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. There is a significant hearing-impaired community in Sri Lanka. They will accordingly be empowered by recognising sign language to recognise means of communication in assessing educational needs, legal matters, health facilities, various government services and private services. The police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana said the special task force apprehended 7 suspects with 29,000 kilograms of refused tea at the Kotugoda area in Sidua yesterday. The stock of tea had been prepared to be exported to the Middle East country under the label Sri Lanka Tea. The container truck prepared for the transport of the tea stock was also seized by the STF. The arrested suspects and goods were handed over to the Sidua police for further investigations. That ends the local news for now.
Darling, our daughter has top O-level results. Do you know what this means?
Yes, just 3 years and she'll be going abroad for her degree.
For which we'll need a bank loan.
But is a normal loan the smartest option?
What else?
The smartest way is to start an HDFC Smart Goals account.
Let your child begin their degree with no delays. Start an HDFC Smart Goals account. Call 2356 888.
Honey, you're so smart.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddha Alepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddha Alepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddha Alepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Minister of Justice Ali Sabri says 4 more courts of appeal will be established to expedite the hearings of the appeals submitted by prison inmates. The decision has been taken taking into account the excessive congestion in prisons with the increased number of inmates who are awaiting the verdicts of their appeals. A meeting in this regard chaired by the Justice Minister was held with the participation of State Minister of Prison Management and Prisoners Rehabilitation, Lohan Ratwatta, recently. The meeting also focused on commuting the punishment of death row inmates who were sentenced after 1998, except those convicted for large-scale drug dealings. Further, the focus of the meeting fell on commuting the sentence of death row inmates who were sentenced after 1998 to life imprisonment under the special presidential pardon. This relief will not be extended to inmates who are imprisoned for large-scale drug trafficking. In addition, the ministers agreed on enacting laws to rehabilitate and integrate those who are apprehended for minor offences and possession of small amounts of narcotics instead of sentencing them to prisons. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddha Alepa Veda Mahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddha Alepa.
And on Watch Light tonight, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved to provide relief for the electricity consumers affected due to the COVID-19. The Cabinet of Ministers approved a 6-month grace period for the payment of accumulated water and electricity bills without any disconnection for domestic, commercial and industrial electricity consumers within areas isolated for more than 14 days continuously in order to settle the electricity bill pertaining to the specific period. That came to you in Watch Light.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of
From
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
World News headlines first. Trump decree on COVID visiting rules rebuffed as he enters the final day. Mexico presses US to reform immigration policies. Trapped Chinese miners say thanks for medicine, call for sausages. The US President-elect Joe Biden has moved to dismiss a new White House decree on COVID travel rules as Donald Trump enters his final full day in office. In one of his last orders, Mr. Trump had tried to end travel bans for visitors from much of Europe and Brazil. Mr. Biden's spokeswoman said now was not the time to be easing travel measures. Joe Biden will take office at around midday tomorrow, although much of the spotlight is on Mr. Trump's final moves, including presidential pardons. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has urged the U.S. to make major reforms to its immigration policy as thousands of migrants were blocked by police in neighboring Guatemala. Mr. López Obrador said he was hopeful that President-elect Joe Biden would agree to work with Mexico and other countries on the issue. About 7,000 migrants, mostly from Honduras, have entered Guatemala. They hope to travel on to Mexico and eventually reach the U.S. border. 12 miners trapped underground after an explosion at the Chinese mine have said they are grateful for nutritional liquids and medicine delivered via a long, thin communication tunnel, but would really like some pork sausages. The miners have been able to communicate via a new telephone line. Rescuers had initially lowered rations on a cable and received back a note saying, "Don't stop trying to reach us." 10 other miners remain missing in the gold mine. Their fate is unclear. Back to the world news headlines. Trump decree on COVID visiting rules rebuffed as he enters the final day. Mexico presses US to reform immigration policies. Trapped Chinese miners say thanks for medicine, call for sausages. That ends World News.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Continuing with development news, a new housing complex will be built in place of the Summit Housing Complex on Kappetipala in Colombo 5. The Summit Housing Complex was built in 1976 on a 12-acre plot of land. It has 175 housing units and 15 bungalows for state officials. Under the new project, 400 housing units will be built on 2 acres and it will be handed over to the Ministry of Public Administration. The remaining 10 acres will be utilized for other economic activities. The project is jointly implemented by the Ministry of Public Administration and the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. That came to you on Development News. Coming up, sports news. 2 more Australian Open tennis players have tested positive for COVID-19 after arriving in Melbourne, state health officials said today. It comes after a player was believed to have tested positive on Sunday amid growing controversy over the event. 1 more non-playing participant also has COVID, bringing the overall total linked to the Open to 7, including a flight attendant. Some 1,200 people have flown in for the tournament, which begins on the 8th of February. India pulled off an astonishing run chase to inflict Australia's first defeat at the Gabba since 1988 win the 4th test by 3 wickets and take one of the all-time great series. Needing 328, a Brisbane record run chase, the injury-hit tourists got home with 3 overs to spare. Shubman Gill made 91 and Rishabh Pant was unbeaten on 89. They win the series at 2-1, keeping the Border Gavaskar they won in Australia 2 years ago. That's sports news. Moving on with business news, Selingco Life has retained its title as World Finance's Best Life Insurer in Sri Lanka in 2020, reaffirming its consistency in performance in a year made adverse for business by the COVID-19 pandemic. Bestowed on the company for a record 7th consecutive year, the World Financial Global Insurance Award recognizes Selingco Life as an organization that is committed to continuously improving its overall process, efficiency, and relationships to serve customers better. The accolade is based on an assessment of multiple aspects of operational performance by the UK-based international magazine that analyses the financial industry, international business and the global economy. That's Business News.
Economic news, courtesy of
Just move on real time, save more, LOLC real time. Paying the premium for transactions, simply save now real time. Day night, no trouble for your transactions. LOLC real time. Download LOLC Finance real time app for your LOLC savings account. Attractive interest rates, transactions anytime, anywhere with a zero cost and more benefits.
The Director of Economic Research at Sri Lanka's Central Bank, Chandranath Amarasekara, says that the country's foreign remittances in December 2020 grew 22.2% from a year earlier to $813 million, which is a historic high. With regard to workers' remittances, also during the first wave, he said the bank expected a decline. During December, the highest ever recorded monthly remittance of $813 million had been recorded. That is 22.2% year-on-year growth compared to December 2019, Amarasekara said. That was economic news.
Hello, Puta, did you land already?
No, Amma. We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
Oh, really? How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy. She might be feeling very uncomfortable. The airport must be heavily crowded because it's a season.
Amma, calm down. Everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. There's nothing to worry.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
To conclude the weather report, the Met Department says showers will occur at times in the northern, north central, eastern, central and over provinces. Fairly heavy falls above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in the northern, eastern and north central provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in Galle, Mathura, Kurunegala districts. Fairly heavy falls about 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamu province and in the Galle and Mathura districts. That was the weather report. And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. The program to develop 1,000 provincial council schools as national schools is swiftly going on. Total COVID-19 recoveries in Sri Lanka crossed 46,000, while new cases total count passes 54,000. The Sri Lanka Navy is in a search and rescue operation to locate the missing Indian fishermen. 4 more appeals courts are to be established. And on news overseas, Trump decree on COVID visiting rules rebuffed as he enters the final day. That ends this news broadcast. And now it's back to my good friend and colleague, Victor Raj.